Hey everyone, quick update on the C10. So I went ahead and while doing all these headlamps and high beams and directionals, realized that the battery holder here was basically very rusty. Now keep in mind this is already like dusted out in the yard, but that's the battery holder. And this tray is just gross. Now, to be fair, it's solid. So, it's not Swiss cheese or anything, but man, this was a bear to get out. You have two bolts in the fender, not the fender, I'm sorry, the wheel well, where those bolt to on the bottom. Then you have two here on the side fender. And then you have this one mysterious bolt. I'll show it here on the inside right there, which inexplicably, and I don't know as to why, is bolted to the coolant, the engine coolant reservoir. I'm assuming it's because they dropped them in at the same time during assembly, but there's no structural reason that they would be attached to each other. And it's actually interesting because every other video on YouTube that I looked up in order to learn how to do this didn't even mention that that bolt existed, which is basically Chinese for I think everyone decades ago in taking these battery trays out one at a time over time has basically just come across that bolt and said to fuck with it and never put it back. So that's that. I got the brights all done and wired up, and they're wired up similar to the turn signals I did before. So that's the headlamp that's ready to go, and then right down there is the high beam that I wired up and put new pigtails on. And as you can see, like, those connectors are just way better than these chalked out things that they don't even come on and off. I used some contact cleaner here to try to salvage these things, but long story short, it really doesn't matter how much you put in there. It might allow it to come out. So if your only desire was to get the plug off of the lamp, it'll do you wonders. But as far as making it something that's workable that you actually want to use over and over, it's really not worth your time. Just clip off the wires and then put on new pigtails, because it'll just make your life easier just in general. But some weirdness with the headlamps, the low beams. These are wired kind of weird. So the way that the pigtails naturally come out of the box is positive, like a hot wire, is on this side, ground is on the right, and the top is the green wire. And long story short, the way that these C10s are wired up is that it's basically flip-flopped. So the hot wire is on the other side, the ground's on this side, and then this stays the same in the top center. And I'm really happy that I didn't just mindlessly not realize that, because I did hook it up the wrong way the first time without plugging it in. And then when I came back today, a day later, I realized that I had fucked up and redid the wiring. So it's a little confusing in here because where these things attach together with that connector, similar to what I use for the turn signals, the ground basically looks like it's going into a hot wire, and the hot wire looks like it's going into a ground, but it's only because the black is hot and the red is ground. It's just they come pre-wired, so the colors are off. So if I ever sell this thing down the road, not that I have any intention to, but someone's going to be really confused if they ever get to that point. So future owner, maybe after I'm dead, sorry about that. Otherwise, the last thing here is the fuel line. So next on the docket is, and I put it back together, so I apologize, you can't really see. Let's see if I can get a better angle here. Yeah, you can kind of see it here. So the last owner, in his infinite wisdom, I'm assuming it was just because he ran out of money, because everything else was done pretty well. he went ahead and basically made this fuel line, as you can see right here, jerry rigged out of like 8 different pieces of clamped hosing that goes all the way down. And then what you see right here, that silver part, that cylindrical silver part right there, is the fuel filter. But the fuel filter is supposed to be way down in the truck, accessible by crawling underneath it, basically. So the whole thing is wrong. Now, does it technically work? Yes, but actually, that is what is causing my rough initial start when it's cold and been sitting for like a day. And it's because since this guy used this 80,000 pieces of clamped together line, way down here, it basically needs to hit like a right angle turn. And since he's not using a pre-molded line that has the turns already like bent into the line, when it made that 90-degree turn, it kinked. So the reason why my second or third start are much easier, albeit still not perfect, is because there's already fuel in the line. But when it's been sitting for like a day, there's no fuel in that line. So to get that fuel to come up the line through the kink, it just takes 2 or 3 turns of pumping for the mechanical pump to get the fuel up to the carburetor and for it to be ignited from the distributor and the spark plug. So like, yeah, that's the source of my problem. So I think we'll be okay there. And then tied to that, as you can see here, I got seepage here. I'm trying to do 2 things at once. I'm sorry. On the valve covers here, and basically those gaskets need to be redone on both sides, which isn't that big of a deal. Just take off the filter, the air filter, and just probably unplug a couple spark plugs to get these plugs out of the way, and then that'll just come right off, and put on a new gasket. The gaskets are cheap, and clean out the top of that, and then I'll be on my merry way. So I think once all that's done, not to jinx myself here, but I think that is the last of the mechanical shit. And once that's done, it's just a matter of cleaning out this engine bay and replacing the dash and the clear gauge cover, and then putting in the radio. And then past that, it's just little niggle things like over time. Let me turn off this lamp here. Sorry, because I'm blinding you all. I've already gone ahead and replaced the dome light. I kept the original metal enclosure, so whatever patina is on there is there. It's just that clear cover, which mine had literally turned to like ash. It was breaking apart in my hands. That's been nice and replaced. I don't know if it'll... Oh no, because I don't have a battery in. But it's nice and bright. It's like a bluish whitish light, so it's not original, but I don't know, for interior I think that's kind of okay, because the entire purpose of that light is so I can see. And past that, I'm getting there. I got some new vintage 80s floor mats coming in, so I don't have these AutoZone specials here any longer. And then past that, I'm gonna want to go ahead and do if I can get it to focus, maybe, there we go. I'm gonna want to go ahead and redo the bed liner here, which I'll do myself with some roll-on stuff, just scuff it up real good. But it's kind of chipping off here in the back of the bed, and then a little bit towards the front. But yeah, other than that, I mean, like, tires good, paint's good, suspension's brand new, the mechanical fuel pump's brand new. The tranny's been rebuilt, the engine's been rebuilt. Probably need to do the spark plugs at some point, if I had to be brutally honest with you. They're not bad, but they're not great. But at least it'll start, and at least it'll run reliably right off the rip. and no more worries. So just a piece of advice for people who are buying an old vehicle from somebody, even if it looks like someone really cared. You don't know when they stopped caring, or when they stopped running out of, or when they stopped, getting money in for the project. So my advice to you would be always have a couple K over your budget just for the weird niggles that you're going to have to tackle after you get the project in. Even if it's pretty near complete, there's always going to be something that you missed, something that they're trying to hide. And that's my advice to you. Past that, I also got a new window latch in. My lighting is terrible. Welcome to my channel. Fuck's sakes. Anyway, it's a new latch, super cheap. I got that on Amazon. It works well. Don't get Dorman. That's not a Dorman product. The Dorman product snaps literally on the first latch. That's kind of crap. If anyone has any clue, by the way, as to a good way to affix the glass to this metal trim piece, mine, if I pull semi-firmly, it'll pop off. I can only assume the adhesive there is just all dried out. The other side's fine. It's just the driver's side. Past that, it functions perfectly if I remember how the hell to do this. I'm also doing this with one hand. There we go. So that goes like that. This is really hard to do with one hand. Oh, there we go. Anyway, so that unlatches like this. And then you can open up the window. Wonderful. Before, I literally just had two stumps there. So that blew. I wouldn't recommend that. Also, just for safety, not that you wouldn't be able to get anyway, but safety's sake, it's good to make sure that people can't get into the cab. I don't plan on going anywhere, too far away or anything, so I don't plan on being away from the truck for too long while it's not in the garage, but you never know with people. People suck. So that's kind of where it is. It's been a lot of work. 3 days of working in the garage, basically getting all this shit done and realized, and I appreciate the help from the last couple people who have been helping me out. It's been great. I really do appreciate it. Belts have been working great. I don't appreciate that's another thing. The previous owner, the reason why it's not bolted here, stripped out that bolt instead of back of the condenser. It still holds on because it's being held on by like 3 other bolts right now, so it's not like it's wiggling or moving or anything like that. It's all good to go. But once again, it doesn't matter how diligent you are, you're never going to be able to catch everything. Granted, I'm not like some sort of master tech or anything. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm a beginner and I'm learning as I go. But even if you know what you're looking for, just inherently, you're going to miss something. So just make sure you always have a little bit of cash left over. But as this gets done, I will provide some updates. I already got the new grill sorted out. I got the original bezel put on there, and the bow tie badge put on there, and the turn signal enclosures put on there, and it looks fantastic. This new grill looks great. I got these bezel pieces, by the way. I got the grill and the bezel pieces from a company called Brothers. They do a bunch of YouTube videos. I would not recommend getting the headlamp enclosures. If you do, I hope it's out of necessity. Otherwise, I would recommend just getting original parts. These are the originals, and the reason why I'm pointing them out is because, as you can see, the Horizon bezel trim is here, and it allows you to mount it. And as you can see, if I flip this around, this guy's cocked his in the back, but yeah, you can see how it attaches and affixes to that. Despite the fact that this is a Brothers grill and it allows you to put the trim here. In fact, if you don't, it looks like crap. On the headlamp bezel replacements, the trim is built in and it's just plastic, And the contrast of it being like a rough plastic and then going into this metal bit is really jarring and it looks really cheap. So I wouldn't recommend it. Don't go ahead and get Brothers C10 headlight bezels. Anyway, kind of a random video, kind of in the middle of the project as we are, but yeah, figured I'd give you an update. Anyway, see you guys later.